G'day mates, welcome to Four Wheeling Western Arizona. How you doing? Good day. I'm Matt Kester. Welcome to Secondhand Overland. And today we're going to be talking about this hunk of junk, my rooftop tent, and why I'm getting rid of it. Never to be seen again. Via con Dios, goodbye tent. I've had this thing for 2 years now, and in that time we've traveled all over the country with it, seen a lot of things, had it in all sorts of different weather conditions, and you know, it provided a lot of comfortable night's sleep, but it came with a lot of drawbacks. And these drawbacks are the thing and the reason why I'm getting rid of this tent. You know, it was because of a trip we took that we even ended up with this out of laziness is what brought this tent into our life. Nicole and I took a trip, it started raining. Instead of going and pitching up the tent on wet ground, we just decided to go home. And it robbed us of an entire weekend's worth of a trip, when all we really had to do was bring a tarp and put it down and put our tent on it. But being the impressionable new overlanders that we were, we thought, well, you know, maybe we do need a rooftop tent. So we went home and I spent hours and hours and hours researching it and thousands of hours of YouTube video, actually not thousands, what am I kidding, probably about 10 or 15. We watched a lot of YouTube video and we decided that we were going to do it, and we settled on the Tepui tent. This is a Tepui Kukenam 3. Now, the reason why I chose this particular tent was the mixture of value, pricing, and for me it was very important when I looked at it that I be able to buy parts. And at the time, Tepui was an independent company, and if you went to their website, you could buy parts down to every nut and bolt on this tent from their website, no problem. They were very affordable, it was easy to find, it was easy to navigate. That's changed since they've been bought by the big Swede giants, Thule. And it's part of the reason why we're getting rid of this. And I'll get into that in a minute. But first, well, I'm gonna get this thing set up and then we're gonna go through it. And we're gonna figure out what the big deal is. And I'll walk you through some of the reasons why I'm getting rid of this tent. And at the end, we're gonna go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison of one of the things that I'm going to be replacing it with. So stick around. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to show you something in a minute that I think is going to be the alternative to this that we're going to keep using, and I'm going to get a time on setting that up. It'll be the first time I've ever set it up. So we'll get a good comparison to see if that time savings is really worth it. Let's go up here and I'm gonna show you a few things. We've got the interior stripped down, but one of the key features of a rooftop tent is that you can keep your bedding in there, which is nice because when you get somewhere at the end of the long day, you just wanna be able to unzip it, flip it over, jump in and go to bed. I loved that part about it, loved it. But that was like the best part. The rest of it, the redeeming qualities are nil. And let's talk about some of those. This ladder isn't the original ladder. The original ladder got broke on a trip when we were heading to Montana, and we were in Utah somewhere camping in the middle of the night, and I went to climb up here, got to about this rung, and it broke, and I fell down. Well, this just happened. Several rungs of this ladder have pulled out just with me stepping on them just right now. And we proceeded on with the trip, got 2 or 3 more nights down the road, and we broke another one. Fortunately, the next night after this one let go, I was at my uncle's house in Montana, and I was able to go to a local hardware store, purchase a regular telescopic ladder, and get in here, and do some drilling and tapping, use the original mounts from the old ladder that broke to fabricate a fix, because yeah, I could have turned in a warranty fix from Tepui, but I was in the middle of a trip and that wasn't going to serve me when I was halfway through the trip and didn't have a ladder to get in and out. Plus, the ladder's a weight-bearing part of this tent. Without this ladder on the ground, there's nothing to outrigger this side of the tent. It's just all cantilevered off of this portion over here. There's a channel groove right in here. See that channel right there, that groove? Well, sometimes these pieces don't line up and the tongue doesn't go in the groove. It's what I call seating. So sometimes at night when you get in here and you don't have this ladder angled right, the ladder ends up taking the weight before the channel really seats well. So when you get in here in the middle, your body weight ends up pushing down and making that tongue and groove completely miss the track, which is called unseating. And it's a really big pain in the ass when it happens in the middle of the night. And then you gotta crawl out here, readjust the ladder, pop everything back up, and if you've got somebody else in here, they've got to go all the way to the other side of the tent to get all their weight out over the car so that you can then lift this part up and do all the unseating. Big pain in the ass, and it's something that is native to clamshell style tents. Second piece that's really irritating me, or I don't know, is the second or third. This zipper, you know, like your main keep the bugs out zipper, well, it's already kaput. Gets to right here, and then you go to turn this corner, and that happens. Right here. Now, that's fine. I anticipated that. You know, that's why I ordered a tent that you could order parts for. Well, that's no more. The folks at Tepui, you know, in Gothenburg or wherever they're from, that the chefs all talk like borky, 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 think that you don't need to have parts anymore. To the point that if you go to their website to try to order the parts that you need for this, you're not gonna find them. There's one part that contains this part that I need, and it's the whole damn top. And that retails for $900, over $900 actually, to replace this top when all I need is that fucking zipper. Now, yeah, I could probably go through the process of going and finding a seamstress or DIYing this by taking the top off and gutting the zipper, and maybe my mom would stitch this up. I mean, she's a quilter or something and has access to sewing machines, but I was counting on, if I had problems down the road, being able to replace those parts, and that's no longer the case with this vendor. So if you're ever thinking about buying a Tepui tent and you think that you're going to be able to support it in the future, think again. They don't think that you should be able to without buying the entire assembly for the same cost as a roof rack, 2 scottles, half the price of the, over half the price of the tent. Actually, the tent's $1,600. $950 is, well, that's $1,900 if you multiply that by 2. So over half the price of the tent just to fix the zipper. That's kind of bullshit. There are a few more things that you need to know. One, this here mattress, after about 2 years, the fun's really gone out of this foam. It's not like latex or a dense, closed density foam. It's just a roll of foam. So as you sleep on it, it gets matted out. For a cheap piece of foam to go in here, Tepui's gonna charge you hundreds of dollars. I shit you not, hundreds of dollars to replace this mat. And this is a weird shape and a weird size, so it's not like you're just gonna go out and buy something off the shelf to do it. You could stick your hiking mats in here, and we've done that before when we had the Thermaless Mondo Kings that were really thick 4-inch ones. But 2 of them in here side by side didn't fit. There was a wicked seam in here, so we just never went to it. So now we're to the point where the foam's thinning it up. You're able to feel what's going on down here in the floor of this tent. Again, over time, degradation, and you're gonna end up having to buy more parts. Here's another thing that nobody will ever tell you. See this guy right here? That's part of the hinge, and you get outside, you can kind of fix it with the Velcro, but you never can get it fully sealed. That means bugs and drafts are gonna be a problem for you that you're never going to fully be able to lock out. Other than that, yes, the interior's nice. You have all of these windows that you can open this whole thing up and really get a breeze and have it thermal regulate in here. Then there's all the other complaints that I have, like having to take this thing off every time I wanna bring the vehicle that it's attached to into the garage. Having to worry about if you're gonna go to a parking lot somewhere, if you're gonna be able to have clearance to get in. and having the thing up here, exposed to the elements, creating drag, creating a higher center of gravity in off-camber situations. All of these things just seem to add up, and I don't think that the quick setup and the not having to deal with pulling your sleeping bags out of stuff sacks is necessarily worth the expense. And, you know, being the guy that I am, I'm not going to give a criticism without making a suggestion for making things better, and we're gonna go to what I think is going to be the better replacement for this. You ready? Let's go check it out. What's gonna be the replacement? Well, first off, right off the bat, obviously, are our existing ground tents that we have. I have a 4, 2, and 1-man set of ground tents. The 4-man is a nice marmot that we bought 10 years ago that is still in immaculate shape. It works really well when you pair it with a cot to get you up off the ground. It feels just as comfortable, if not more comfortable than this, and you're not dealing with the ladder and bringing the dog up and down or the kids in and out. I have 2- and 1-man backpacking tents that paired with a nice ground pad will be just as good and take up a lot less space in and on the vehicle when I'm going down the road, and I can just take them out and throw them in the garage when I'm done, and I don't have to drag them around on my roof rack. The other thing is this thing wastes a ton of space on the roof rack. I mean, look at it. Its folded size is 48 by 52. Over half of it is taken up just by the tent alone. So that only leaves us with the space just above the cab to haul any extra equipment that we can't find a space for on the inside. What am I going to replace this with when it's me and Nicole and we want to sleep somewhere comfortable with a quick setup time and that gets us up off the ground? Well, stick right there. I'm going to go get it for you. A Kamp Rite 2-person tent cot. Now I got this thing on offer up for $100. Brand new, never been slept in. Somebody bought it, thought they wanted it, didn't need it. The guy had only had it set up in his garage when I went there to pick it up, and I picked it up, put it into the bag, and brought it out here. I've never set it up before, but I want to set it up and see how it compares timing-wise to setting this thing up and see if I've really gained or lost anything. Now, yeah, the size is quite bigger, but the trade-off is you're getting to have a tent and a cot all in one that will then keep you up off of these hard rocks and unstable ground or wet ground and allow you to sleep inside of a nice enclosure. Again, I've never set it up before, and we're gonna find out how long it takes in comparison to this. All right, let's do it. Syncing it up. Let's go. All right. First thing to do is okay, so I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Some things I have noticed. The zippers are better, by far better. Way better, bigger teeth. They're more of an industrial grade zipper. Tent fabric, yeah, it's nylon. It's not a heavy gauge nylon, but it's nylon. And that one, the rooftop tent is like a canvas. It's breathable. This thing's got a lot of good ventilation to it, but I can see where breathability may be a problem in this thing. I don't know. Yeah, I can't pull air through the material. So that could be a problem. That leads to condensation and all those sorts of other things. Now, this is built for 2, but if you think you're gonna do some snuggling or getting busy, this right here is gonna be a problem for you. There's a bar that runs longitudinally down this thing to add support for either side. I mean, I'm jumping on it, nothing's happening. Otherwise, side to side, it ain't bad. I can totally see like the advantage to this come wintertime, or if there's an instance where it's really, really wet, you don't want to have to sleep on the ground, you don't want to get the tent dirty by putting the tent in the mud. This is going to be a great alternative. It's getting hot as balls in here right now though, because I'm in direct sunlight, so Again, that goes back to the nylon. I'm somewhere between 5'11" and 6 foot tall to steal an old Ron White bit. Looks like I'm gonna be able to be in here comfortably lengthwise. I don't see too many problems with that. It's gonna be shorter definitely than the rooftop tent was in overall length, but I still don't see it being a problem for me. Now maybe if you're a tall fella, somewhere in the higher ends of 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", this might start being a little bit short for you, but for me and on down, I don't think this is gonna be a problem. All in all, it looks like a viable alternative, and I think it's gonna be a good deal. Only time will tell. I am concerned that this nylon fabric may not wear as long as that canvas on that tent. That's the one spot in durability I see where it's a problem. But then again, that top for that tent costs $900. This thing at full retail, I think, is barely $200. And if you look on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, you can find these all over the place. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I gotta go ahead and get all this crap packed up and go pick the boy up from school and go home and edit this out. But, you know, that's why I'm getting rid of my rooftop tent, and this is what I'm replacing it with.